listening to Am I the Bolcast, the only podcast about Magic the Gathering you're listening to right now. I'm your host, Mike Carrozza. You might know me from my column, Am I the Bolus, over on edhrec.com. And shout out to everybody reading the column every week, tuning into the podcast, and saying such nice things. A lot of people get in the comments on EDHREC, and I'll tell you what, I live for it. I get in there myself. I'm not in the business of arguing with anybody, but if people are arguing in the comments, it usually is quite respectful, and I really appreciate that about our readership. So shout out to you if you're already in there. I'm just going to go ahead and say shout out Stephen Ball. That dude comments on everything. Shout out to you, buddy. We have another episode where we're not doing the bookend, so Morgan is absent today. That doesn't mean you shouldn't go follow her at Indigo Gentleman on Blue Sky and give her a little bit of love. And just a heads up, just keep reading EDHREC. That's where Morgan works. That's how you support Morgan, by keep showing up. I will also say, before we bring in our guest to discuss her journey with Magic the Gathering and so on, I have to do the sponsors. Ooh la la. No bookends means I'm doing the sponsors off the top with the guest waiting in the wings. How unprofessional and shitty. Sorry, Ken. But I do want to say, Cardsphere.com is a proud sponsor of Am I the Bolcast. Cardsphere, get your cards here. There's a referral link in every description of every episode for you to sign up for Cardsphere. Don't know why you haven't done it yet. It's probably because you just got into the podcast. If so, welcome. Sign up for Cardsphere. It's where your cards are your wallet. You trade with people all over, and you get exactly what you need. Whenever a new set drops and I am looking for cards, I can't find anything on my LGS's website. It's always right to Cardsphere, where a bunch of people are like, I opened 6 of these in my sealed pool and it was awful, but these cards are worth something and I'm trying to get them to people who want to play them. That's me, baby. I'm always looking at 4 a.m. when it's time for the new set to drop. You know your boy loves it. Cardsphere.com. Click the referral link. Don't forget, boneboxgames.com. Discount code Bolcast for a little something off over there. They've got a restock on a couple popular ones, including the baked goods one, which I quite love, and I'm taking traveling with me in next week when I go to Vancouver. But I can't wait to see you out there, Vancouver. Can't wait to be back in Montreal to be playing more Magic with our guest today. Our guest today is a good friend of mine. We have known each other for, God, I want to say something crazy like 8 years. We met in my first year when I lived in Toronto through comedy while doing stand-up comedy, and since she's moved on from comedy into we'll say better work and more fulfilling creative work, I'll say. And you know what? She'll tell you herself. She's a good friend of mine. We literally hang out here all the time. I'm just so glad she's into Magic now. Ashley Cooper. Hi, Ashley.
Hello.
Hi, friend. I don't know how to do intros for friends that I know, because I could just tell them everything, and I'm like, what's the professional thing to do? So you know what? I'm going to ask you, what do you want people to know you for? What do you want people to check out? What are you up to?
My name is Ashley Cooper. I am a video game writer. You may have seen my work in games like World War Z, Gotham Knights, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, the RuPaul's Drag Race mobile game. I don't know what the Venn diagram of Am I the Bullets listeners and Drag Race
I play
is.
that. I've played that. I downloaded it, but it wasn't for me. But I did play the game. I'm not gonna lie. Drag Race is big in this house.
And I'm currently senior writer at Motive Studio, working on the Iron Man game.
Hell, yeah. Sorry, Ken. Iron Man, as you may know, is now a card in Magic the Gathering, and shockingly, that's not the thing that got you into Magic. But you did just recently start playing Magic after many times. Look, I didn't want to push too hard, but I did get what I want. I got you. I wasn't the one responsible for getting you into Magic, but I have tried.
It took genuinely 3 people across probably 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first time somebody tried to get me to play was like 15 years ago. Maybe no, because 15 years ago I would have moved to Toronto, so maybe closer to almost 20 years ago.
That's wild.
The first time I tried was shortly after I volunteered at the Toronto Wizard World Comic Book Convention. Part of the volunteer thank you package included starter decks of Magic the Gathering. It was Planeswalker something something. This would have been
Duel of the Planeswalkers, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And for some reason, this was not a popular part of the gift bag, so a lot of people left their boxes. So I was like, well, I'll just take those. So I walked home like with like so many boxes. Like they're like little deck boxes. We're not talking like booster boxes or anything. And I brought them home to my other friend Mike, who is a lifelong Magic the Gathering player since as long as I've known him back in high school. He is like my OG Magic friend. And I was like, hey, I got all of these free Magic cards. What if you taught me how to play? And he was like, I've been waiting for this moment. And so he taught me how to play it. And I was like, okay, cool. I think I kind of got the hang of this. And then I didn't play again for like 2 or 3 weeks or something, at which point it was all gone. Everything I'd learned was gone and we had to start from scratch. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to get to play this often enough for this stuff to stick. And so I just gave him the cards and I was like, here you go. Here you go. You can have these. And then I gave up and I didn't try again for a really long time. And then I moved here, Montreal. And you tried to teach me very generously with, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Jumpstart box?
Yes. The most recent Jumpstart set.
Yes. And that was fun. But again, weeks passed until we tried again and it was gone.
Right.
And so I kept running into this wall of I haven't been playing it often enough to kind of onboard the rules to myself so that I can actually just sit down at a table and play with somebody.
Right.
And so that became really discouraging. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm just too dumb for this. Maybe I just, whatever. It's not for me. It seems super cool. And I know so many people that love it, but I guess it's just not for me for whatever reason.
Crazy sentence to come out of your mouth. Maybe I'm just too dumb. Ashley Cooper, one of the smartest people I know out here. Maybe I'm just too dumb for this. Meanwhile, been playing this since I was a child and I'm over here like, maybe I'm a friggin' genius. If you're thinking that, Jesus. No way you're too dumb for this. No chance.
And then I had another friend, Raina, who you should all check out online, JFC Doomblade on Blue Sky. She's very funny, very smart, huge horror Magic the Gathering games. She's the best. She's been trying to get me into Magic for quite a while as well. And basically, she's constantly telling me about cool cards and stuff like that, and then Final Fantasy dropped.
And that look.
and that so Final Fantasy, but here's the thing, like you said before, like the Marvel Secret Lairs dropped and I didn't try for them.
Right. Well, you did try to get them. They just sold out so quick. I do believe that if things had gone according to plan with those cards, you would have had the Marvel Secret Lairs, at the very least the Iron Man one, and you would not be able to have them on a shelf just hanging out.
That's maybe true.
Yeah.
But so all these other things, like the Universes Beyond sort of came and went, and like I would hear like, oh cool, there's Lord of the Rings cards now. That's really sick. What a cool idea, and blah 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 blah. And if Final Fantasy comes out, and Rain and I periodically play games online. We'll play Dead by Daylight, or we'll play oh god, why do I not remember the name of the game now? The new Marvel game.
Oh damn, I'm blanking too. I can't even look it up.
We played dozens of hours of this thing and I can't remember.
I want to say Marvel called. League or
no, it's the Overwatch clone. Oh my god, why can I not remember
Rivals.
What it's called? Rivals. Oh my god. Listen, it's late.
I know.
I've had a long weekend. Marvel Rivals. We play Marvel Rivals and we just bullshit and stuff. And
sorry, Ken.
Oh, sorry, Ken. And she was telling me about some of these cards, and the thing that really tuned me in and really kind of got me interested
Mhm.
was the way that she described card mechanics, or rather, storytelling as card mechanics.
Hell yeah.
So
Yes.
she would tell me about how, Sephiroth did this thing and how it relates to a moment in the game. Or
Mhm.
how when Aerith dies on the battlefield, it does this thing and how that relates to her role in the story.
Mhm.
And the one that I thought was just absolutely delightful and so perfect was Zach
Mhm.
Fair. When he
Yeah.
dies, he gives his equipment to somebody else. I was like, this is so sick. Like
Yes.
this, like turning storytelling into card mechanics is such a clever way in, because it would be so easy to just be like, this is Cloud and he is a magic card and he does whatever. It doesn't matter. It's got Cloud on it. Go buy it.
Mhm.
This is Titus and he does whatever we decided and he's on a
Sure.
magic card now. Go buy it. Right?
Mhm.
You could just throw the IP at people and expect them to buy it. But
Sure.
the painstaking effort that they go through to find ways to, it's not just Cloud is in Magic, it's Cloud is a Magic card.
Yes.
You
See,
know what I
that's a
mean?
great distinction. Yes.
And I think that's
Absolutely.
so sick. And so she, every time we talk about it, she's always like, you really got to play. You got to play. What are we going to play? Blah, blah, blah. And I was and then eventually I was like, I really want to. I know so many people that love it. I've
Yeah.
tried a bunch of times and I keep bouncing off it. It just doesn't stick. I
Yeah.
don't play enough to internalize the rule set so that I can
Mhm.
actually just sit down and play a game with somebody when they ask. And she was like, has that been the problem this whole time? I was like, yeah. She's like, you should just download Arena.
There it
And I
is.
was like, okay, what's that? And she's like, it's the blah, 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 blah. I
Yeah.
don't need to explain Arena to anybody listening to this podcast. But
It's the
but
game.
her,
It's the game that's on your computer on your mobile device. You can pull it out on a tablet on a phone. You just start learning. The
and yeah,
tutorial's so good.
that was her pitch. She's like, you can play by yourself. The tutorials are excellent.
Uh
And
huh.
by the time you're done, you'll understand how the game works. And because you don't require another person to play, you can just play against bots and learn it until you internalize it. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I was like, in between matches of rivals, I was like, I downloaded it. Right.
Yeah.
Arena's on my phone now. Leave me
There we
alone.
go.
I did it.
Uh
And
huh.
she's like, okay, sick. And this all came from, like, I was playing a lot of Marvel Snap.
Right.
Because
Which
I
is
do really like a card game, but Marvel
uh-huh.
Snap is really like pick up and play, very simple. I can play
Sure.
it on the bus on the way to work or whatever.
Totally.
And she's like, if you like that, why don't you like Magic? And I was like, I just,
Yeah.
and so
You
I
knew it
had it.
as a physical only game that you need
Yes.
other people for, and it's not like it's not like schedules are the easiest thing to align, especially when the most popular formats to play are draft, which to get a real draft going, you got 8 people, or commander, which requires, a good pod is 4 people,
And I
and
didn't
to
even
be
know
well
any of
matched.
that at the
You had
time.
no idea.
So I finally downloaded it and then I didn't open it because honestly, I kind of a little bit forgot.
I hear you.
Um, and it was probably about a week later, she messaged me and she was like, so have you tried Arena yet? And I was like, oh, actually, like, sorry, Ken. Legitimately, I kind of forgot. You know what? I can't remember what day. It was on the weekend, and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything. I'll bust it out on my iPad right now.
There it is.
And I think I played for like 4 hours.
That's wild. I didn't realize the first foray was 4 hours.
I was like, oh, because it's a video game, you can't do anything wrong. So, even while it's tutorializing you, you can't like do your steps out of order or like
Mm-hmm.
miss a trigger or whatever, because the game's all like,
It
oh,
takes care of
reminder,
it.
do you want to do your trigger? Do you
Mm-hmm.
want to do this? Do you want to Oh, no, you can't do that. That you can't even click it right now.
Yeah,
Like
you're trying to
it,
target an opponent's creature with a pump spell. You sure you want to do that?
yeah. It's got all of these guardrails in place to make things easy to understand for you. And like when I get into a card game, I get into a card game.
Yes,
Like
you do.
I remember playing the video game Inscription a couple years ago. Somebody really hardly recommended it to me. Heartily recommended it to me, rather, not hardly. Really recommended it to me because they were like, I think you would really, really like this. And it took over my Christmas break. I played that thing nonstop through my entire holiday break that year.
Inscription is wild. It
It's
was
so
also
good.
it was recommended to me by my buddy Winslow, who we've had on the podcast as like a bonus episode to plug his game, The Restless, which is not only fully funded but like quadrupled its goal. Which can't
Hell
wait for
yeah.
everybody to be getting those games. It's going to be great. But he showed me Inscription, and I was like, "Wait, your cards can become other cards? Okay, hang
Yeah.
on. What is
And
this?"
and so like I when I finished Inscription, I was hungry for more. I was like, can I
Yeah.
buy a physical version of this? Can I play with this with friends? Like, oh my God, like give me more of this. And then there
Oh
was
yeah.
nothing else like it out there. And so it kind of just fizzled away.
Mm-hmm.
And then funnily enough, the way that this all started, the
Mm-hmm.
way all of this started was the Pokemon TCG app drop.
Oh, really?
I don't think I've ever told you this part of the story.
No.
Um, the Pokemon TCG app dropped, and I knew a bunch of people that were downloading it to play it because it was like the full game and you could like fight each other and stuff like that.
Cool.
And I'm on a server with a bunch of friends, and they were all like super into like opening the free pack every day to see what they got and stuff like that.
Sure.
And so I downloaded it, and like I guess collecting the cards is fun, question mark. But really I was like, I want to play the game. I want to, battle the cards and stuff. Dude, I don't know if you've ever tried it, but Pokemon TCG is so boring.
I have tried it, and I just kind of chalked it up to like it's not for me.
I could not connect to it at all.
That's a bummer.
It was so simple, or maybe not simple. Maybe I didn't understand the depth of it.
Sure.
I bounced off of it really hard. But at the time, I was really excited about getting into a longer form, sort of like kind of card game that I could get invested in. Obviously, Inscription is very sort of yeah. Because Inscription is kind of a self-contained package, right? You finish it and you can do kind of like the infinite mode or whatever, but it is still sort of just this limited experience. I was like, oh well, this Pokemon thing, like I could play that for a long time. I could good at it and collect cards and stuff. And it didn't quite work out, but I was kind of had that hunger. And then that led me back to Marvel Snap, which I had tried when it first came out, but I was living in Toronto. And most of the time when I'm playing games on my phone, it's during commutes or in travel to other places.
Right.
In Toronto, you do most of that on a subway that at the time that I lived there did not have self-service underground.
Right.
So I couldn't actually play it. And I was like, well, I'm not going to sit at home and play it on my phone. Like I've got expensive video game consoles and a nice TV to play video games on.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to, So I kind of like sat it out for a while, but then I moved here and I was like, oh, I can actually play this now because there's self-service on the metro in Montreal. So then that then that eventually sort of indirectly led to Magic. So I played this like afternoon of nonstop arena, and I was like, yo, this is actually so sick. And Raina got super excited. She's like, do you want to play some? And so then I think like the next day we just played a bunch together while we talked like over a Discord call.
There you go.
And then the day after that, I went to like my LGS and picked up the Limit Break Cloud Precon deck. And then I texted you with a picture of it and was like, what if you taught me how to play this?
Do you know how loud I screamed when I got that text? My girlfriend, who says hi, by the way, Andrina says hello. My girlfriend will tell you all that she thought I was freaking out about something like what she would call quote unquote more important. This has been something I've been trying to get, because I knew you would love it. I know that there are patches of frustration with the game where you're kind of like, Commander's like a difficult, there's more of there's a harsher learning curve than you think there's going to be with Commander, because it's touted as like this like format for new players, or like it's the social format or something, and it's the more like customizable, personal, creative format. Whereas like, the other one, the like draft and limited, you get what you get and you work with what you got. versus Commander, where you're like, I'm building a deck and I'm putting things together, and you got a precon, you can upgrade and stuff like that. I get that there's all these road bumps and stuff, but I was like, if Ashley gets into this, I will be there to help, because I know getting into Magic, because over the years, you don't just have one friend you try to convince they're gonna to get into Magic. You got plenty of friends that you want to get into Magic because you know that they'll enjoy it, and considering how much joy the game brings you, you just want to bring that to them. It's an act of care in a lot of ways, except for when it concerns your friend's wallet. And I'll say, like, I got that text and I was like, okay, first things first, let's get together and let me show you what's up. You got that limit break deck? I've got so many cards that you're gonna love to put in that deck if you're into upgrading it right away. And then shortly after, you came over with the limit break deck, and you also had, what was it, 2 boxes of Final Fantasy boosters and a bundle.
I
You
had,
went
yeah,
in.
I went so hard because I
Ah,
got really excited about it. I bought 2 booster boxes, a bundle, and the starter decks. The
yeah,
like the 2 deck starter kit.
like the
Uh,
60 card Sephiroth, like
yeah,
the Demir Sephiroth and Boros Cloud facing
yes,
off each other decks. Yeah,
yeah.
the starter product. Yeah, you went whole hog on it. I was like, Jesus, Ashley. Okay, well, first of all, love the enthusiasm. Secondly, if of all sets to get into, this is definitely the one that's gonna hurt the most money wise. So at least you ripped off that band-aid nice and clean. Um, but then you found the rest of the precons available for you, and we went out to a nearby city to pick them
Yeah,
up and everything. And we just came back to my place and spent the whole day jamming precons against each other and being like, here's what I'm seeing on the table. This is what I'm getting into. Like, I like the Terra deck because it plays into this play style. That's what I like. So far, what are you into? Just kind of figuring things out. And I think we've landed on you being more like you love a theme. You love going in with a vision, getting that vision down. And then if it comes to powering it up, you will do that, but you won't sacrifice the theme or the vibe you're going for. And that's fun. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't help but want a story in my deck, right? It's not
It's
a
what
collection
attracted
of
you to the game.
Yeah, it's not just a collection of 100 cards. It's a deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of the way that I think of it. It's like, okay, well, what what is the theme of the deck? What is the story of the deck? What do I
Mm-hmm.
want it to be doing? What do I want the experience of it to be, both for myself and for the other people at the table, you know?
Mm-hmm. Totally. And that's like, it's one thing to be like, okay, this Final Fantasy precon, I'm only going to really upgrade with stuff from Final Fantasy to keep it in world. That's one thing, right? That's not necessarily something you did, but that's one way to approach it. The other way would be like, you've been working on like a Captain Nagathrod deck
Yeah.
that you're focused on really making horrors and pirates. Is that what it is? Or
No, it's
oh,
horrors
right,
and shapeshifters.
that's right,
Uh
illithid control stuff.
Yeah, because the whole idea is that the theme of the deck is a lithid roleplay. So either the whole thing with the deck is either I'm going to take your stuff and turn it against you,
Hmm.
or I'm going to turn into your stuff and use it against you,
There we go.
or I'm going to convince you not to attack my stuff through because the lithids are all about mind control and persuasion.
Uh huh.
And so it's basically just this like diversion slash grave robber sort of thing.
Totally. That's fun as hell. I love that because every now and then you'll hit me with like, here's a deck list, and I'm like, I know you want advice and you want me to take a look at it and be like, what's the cuts? What do I change? But before I get into it, I need to know what your theme is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like you built a Captain Howler deck, mind you. Ashley got into this at Final Fantasy, which was like a month or two ago. We're in. Ashley is building. Ashley is in, and we play. We play as much as we can, and it's been a lot of fun. And I'll say that you've already got a bunch of decks and a bunch of deck ideas, and you're kind of refining what you got right now. But there was a lot of excitement around Edge of Eternities, which we can get to soon. And there's a lot of excitement with the Marvel Spider-Man set coming up. So like there's lots to talk about in terms of what's coming. But and what's just been out for like officially a week. Edge of Eternities has only been like what, 10 days?
Something like
Uh
that, yeah.
something like that. Isn't that crazy? But that said, like you're already like, okay, Captain Howler is such a sick looking card. It's only pirates and pirate ships. And then
Yes.
you've also but the you will forego the cut of a pirate ship because thematically it makes sense that it's in the deck, and it can sometimes be really, really big in the game, but most of the time it's just kind of like it's there. You know what I mean? Like I think that that's a fair way to build, especially because this is what you want. And ultimately, I think it adds a little bit of variance to the game that's kind of like sometimes your card's a whammy. You know what I mean? Sometimes your card's a card that you didn't want to draw, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? I think that's a lot more fun than just like everything being total gas. It reminds me of 80 DeFazio, a friend of the show, Good Egg, Sweet Angel, does this like deck with Cody Vociferous Codex, or Voracious. Either way, Cody, the 5-color artifact that allows you to essentially cascade into a different spell when you cast a spell with it. That deck is based around a couple of spells and really good spells, but there are also like 5 cards that if he hit them, well, they hurt him too. You know, it adds a little bit of a gamble, adds a little bit of a risk to it, you know? So it's not totally streamlined the whole time like a competitive Cody deck would be. And I think that's so much fun. I love to sit down with somebody and be like, tell me what inspired you to make this and what this is, you know? There's a deck I played against online where it was a really old commander from Kamigawa, original Kamigawa. So we're talking like early 2000s. Iname Death Aspect, I think. It's the mono black spirit that allows you to search your library for as many spirits as you want and put them into the graveyard. And he was like, there's a secret commander to this deck. If it happens, it happens. We'll see. And I'm not even going to give it away because there's a chance that some of my listeners are going to play against that deck. And I just really had a good time with it. But ultimately, somebody built a deck going, I want this very specific thing. I'm not going to force it. It's not going to be a thing that I get off every time. But when it happens, it's going to be the story that I leave people with. The thing that people walk away with to go, this one time I played against this guy and I just did it. You know what I mean? I just did that.
Yeah.
So I think and I can see you lighting up where it's like, I think that's what you want from when you build a deck. And I think that's really sweet.
Well, because when you say that, all I can think about is the Sonic the Hedgehog deck that I haven't built yet.
Aha. Gotta go
Because
fast.
I got the Sonic Secret Lair,
Mhm.
the 3 set,
Mhm.
and I've told you this. I really want to build a Sonic Commander deck that is exclusively like haste
Mhm.
and is like all the lands are like the raceways from Ether Drift
Uh-huh.
and like just like everything is about speed. I want to do the start your engines mechanic from
You're just
Ether
going all
Drift.
in
Like
on theme with
just
it.
I don't know if this thing will even be playable. It
Sure.
might not even be bracket 1. It might be bracket 0.5. But I
I
think it would just
mean,
be so silly and so fun to whip out at a table. I think it
that's
would be
it.
so much fun.
That's what bracket 1 is. Everything that doesn't live in 2 and higher is 1, and it's for this reason. You have a theme, you have an idea, you're executing the idea. Focus isn't on power and synergy, focus is on how silly is this, or like on the theme, or like a buddy of mine has a deck where it was creatures facing left, and the whole deck was just creatures and lands. Every creature in the art was looking left. If they had eyes or a head, it was or multiple heads or whatever, one of them was looking left. And he could only attack the person sitting directly to his left. So the way it would go is like, even if the person to his left is not the problem, and in fact the person 2 turns away is the problem, diagonally across from him, he can't attack that person. Gotta go left first, break through that one, so he can call this one left and keep going. And I think that that's where this lives, flavor wise. That's where this kind of thing lives. I'm looking forward to see what you do with the Sonic deck, because it makes me happy when you light up about something like this. You know what I mean? That's the fun about Magic, is like there's an excitement to getting inspired by a card, and I think that that's like part of all of Magic. Is you see a mechanic and you're going, hold on a second, what is this? What am I doing? Why am I stuck on this? You know, and you try to figure it out. Or when it's like a commander or a creature that you're familiar with, or like there's a touchstone, like with Universes Beyond, like with certain Magic characters like that have a history and stuff. You'll see like Sonic. You saw Sonic, you're like, haste. Oh my god, that makes so much sense. What does this mean?
Yeah.
Okay, takes damage, make a treasure. I mean, excuse me, come on. You're like, that's him dying into the rings, baby. You know what I mean? So like, it doesn't take a lot to get there, and to see where you're gonna go with it is still like open ended. You could still go theme really hard on theme, and it ends up a bracket 2 or 3 because of synergy, because
Right.
it does actually work out. But you're starting at a place where it's like, even if it doesn't perform well, this deck is gonna be this deck, and that's fun as hell. And I think that's cool. I really like that a lot. I I think your deck building style, as you go, will solidify itself, but it's hard to escape from the thing that you are initially attracted to in the game, right? Like for me, I love an engine. If you tell me I can make something happen with 7 cards on the board that interact and have, okay, this trigger does this. Okay, when I do that, this has to activate. And then I tap these 2 things to untap this, which activates again. You know, that for me is where Magic lives. That's why I have so many
Yeah.
trinkety decks. That's why I have so many aristocrats decks. That's what I love about Magic. Oh, the graveyard? That's just a bigger second hand, baby. Let's start playing with stuff in there. That's what I want. A bunch of artifacts that are gonna enhance, this crazy Golbez Crystal Collector has been my latest deck, and I can't get over it. It's very fun. It's very good. But that said, we know each other's deck building style. We got Ashley's entrance into the game big time. I mean, we didn't even talk about Edge of Eternities, because that was already such a blur of last weekend. Literally, just not long ago. Truly, by the time this comes out, Edge of Eternities will have been out officially for maybe still less than a month. How crazy is that? You know what I mean?
Wild. Yeah.
Especially since it is a set that it's difficult to appraise a set like this after Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy was such an all-timer of a limited format. You could draft Final Fantasy so many more times, and it's still crazy. Like it anyway. I really hope that there's a way to accessibly do that some more without it costing like $6,000 a box in the future. Like it feels insane, because my God, wouldn't it? But that's the problem with Universes Beyond. I don't know if they can do like flashback drafts on Arena or something. I digress. I don't know, where do you want to go with this, Ashley? Because normally we talk about a pet peeve in Magic, or a story where you might be the villain, and I don't like, I don't know if you've got any of those prepared, but also maybe there's something that you're like, what's a thing you've noticed in Magic that you didn't quite expect? Or do you have a pet peeve? Do you have a story? What are you thinking?
I don't have a story where I might be the villain because I'm a perfect angel who's never done anything wrong in her life. But I got peeves, buddy. Do I
You
have
got
peeves?
peeves. Okay, hit it. Let's talk some peeves. What do you want to do? This is coming from a
Um,
new player's perspective. Let's hear the entry point peeves. What's hit you so early on with Magic
it
and Commander?
it bugs the out of me. Sorry, Ken.
Yep.
When somebody gets tilted during draft and drops out because they've lost enough times that they
Ooh.
can't get the store credit anymore.
Yeah, I hear you.
I've been drafting a lot since I started. It's become like that's what I like to do on Friday night is I go to my
Friday
LGS
Night Magic, baby.
and I play draft because for me, it's a great way to learn the game because I'm forced to play with cards that I don't necessarily spend a lot of time looking at otherwise.
Mhm.
It forces me into colors that my normal decks do not necessarily feature.
Mhm.
And I'm playing something different every single week.
Mhm.
So I get to learn the set. I get to learn how other opponents play things. I get to learn the difference between a good card and a bad card in a draft environment and all that these
Totally.
other things. I find it very educational and very useful. And it also just gets me games, right? Like that's
Yeah, you
at
get
this
your reps
point,
in.
that's it. It's all about getting the reps in. And on multiple occasions, because listen, I don't do particularly well in terms of win numbers here.
Sure,
I'm still
that's
very
fair.
new. I think I'm at a store where like a lot of the people that are playing are pretty seasoned, and that's
It's a
fine.
spiky it's a spiky LGS. It
And that's
definitely is.
totally fine with me. I'm not
Yep.
there because I think I'm gonna win.
Sure.
I'm there to get better.
Mhm.
That's what my win condition is, right? Like
Mhm.
I want to go in and put up more of a fight this week than I did last week.
Hell
And
yeah.
if I pull out a win, then hell yeah, right?
Mhm.
Where I get a little bit bummed is when I just sit there and somebody plays magic at me. Right? Like when I just my deck's just not doing like I've messed up my deck building in some way, or
Mhm.
they've just got an answer for everything I'm trying to do. And I kind
Right.
of just sit there and the game ends at, 19-0. And I'm like,
Sure.
okay, well, that's when I get a little bit bummed. I'm like, okay, well, I didn't actually learn a lot this time because I kind of just got trampled.
Mhm.
But on multiple occasions that I've gone there, because of course I'm always the person that you play when you go like loss, right? I'm
Hi.
I'm I'm the final boss at the
You're
end.
you're also at O2 and you're going to be going up at another O2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And on multiple occasions when somebody gets there, because
Mhm.
usually it's best two out of you play three opponents,
Mhm.
and it's usually you get a certain amount of store credit if you go undefeated.
Mhm.
You get less store credit if you do 2-1, and then
Mhm.
you get nothing if you're one
Right.
or you lose.
Like depending on where
Um,
you play, the prize structure will
the price
vary,
structure
but
changes, but that
yeah.
tends to be the tiers, right? So
Right.
you have to win three or two of your games
Right.
in order to win a prize. And
Mhm.
on multiple occasions, I have noticed that people will drop out the second a prize is no longer available to them, which
Right.
then kind of ruins the night for somebody else because then they have a round where they're just kind of sitting there twiddling their thumbs.
Mm.
Or their night ends early because by the time like I'm sitting down for my third game, if they drop out, then that's the
Yeah.
end of my night. I played two
Yeah.
games,
You
right?
get the buy or like the win based on that. You leave 1 and
Yeah,
2, but you don't really
but I
feel
didn't
like you
actually
got
get. Yeah, exactly.
right.
I don't feel like I got the win.
Mm.
And the first time this happened, I was like, it's a fluke. But
Right.
it's happened multiple times, and I don't know if this is my LGS that I'm going to and
Mhm.
that crowd, or if this is like a problem that like exists. But I find it so
Uh,
frustrating because
yeah.
where could the stakes possibly be lower?
I think
Right?
that this might be a mixture of like, yes, this is a thing that happens, but also it could be the LGS. Now, the LGS that you're talking about, we know we're not going to talk about them outright just because but they're a spikier LGS. They're a place that like people go to prep for, tournaments. They go to qualify for stuff. They are way spikier than a couple other LGSs. Like the one that I go to most often now will do like a draft, but when we get to the draft, often they'll take a poll to be like, how do you want the prize structure? Everybody gets a pack per game, or do we want the winner to come out on top with a bunch of stuff? And so often in that LGS, people are like, we just like the set. Let's just go with the set being what it is, right? Let's just like have some fun with it. Let's experience it, get to know it, and everybody walks away with some prizes. And in those cases, you get a lot less drops because people are getting the whatever they want. And so for prize support or whatever, they get that element. However, when it
Takes the
comes to
stakes out of it.
exactly. But even then, it isn't like the craziest stakes. You get an extra
No.
booster pack. It's you. The thing is, what people fail to recognize when they're dropping is that like I think that you're putting so much value on the prize, or if you just have a particularly frustrating deck, I understand dropping. I can see it for a couple reasons, but I will also say like sit down with the person that you're gonna get paired with, have a chat. Hey,
Totally.
I would rather not play this round because the deck I drafted turns out doesn't work the way I wanted it to. I went into too many different lanes. I don't have the support to be in the colors I picked. Pivoted too late. My mistake, but it's really made it so that I have really no chance at having much fun in this last game. So I was thinking about dropping. And you can be like, look, I feel like maybe we're similarly matched and I'm here to kind of learn things. So what if we just tried to see together, and worst comes to worst, if you feel like you're still not getting any fun of it, we'll call it there and that's that. But I'd like to see you try. You know what I mean? Like I wish that there was more of a, I wouldn't say that it's like unsportsmanly to like bail on it because it is still like
No, I don't think so, because it's like,
right.
if you don't want to play, don't play, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
but it is having an impact on someone else's night,
Right.
right?
Tournament structure definitely inherently makes it competitive, and some people will just lock into being like, okay, my win loss rate is already shot. I'm not gonna keep going. And you
Yeah,
see this a lot on like Arena as well, where like, you know, I just watched LSV tap out of an Arena Direct event because his sealed pool was just garbage. You know, he tried 2 matches with it, was like, it's not happening. He just conceded the whole event and then started a new one, which he can do because it's arena and it's immediate or something. But I just
right.
think about the person who like showed up, you know, maybe had to make their way down from somewhere far just to play some games, is eager to get into it, you know. That does suck. That's not a fun feeling. So I understand that peeve. I will also understand the person being like, I hate my deck. I don't know this set at all. This. Sorry, Ken. You know what I mean? um Especially when the set is, and sorry to for this to be like the first thing we're saying about the set so much, but Edge of Eternities is not an easy set to draft. And for the most part there's so many cards that just don't really matter. So like it's a weird set, whereas like Final Fantasy gave you a lot of options to work with, and you could always find something in your colors that'll like, you know, show you the way. You're kind of rewarded for finding the path and building in the colors that you're pointed in, and it kind of course corrects that way, and ultimately has like a bunch of different open strats that are just like hidden paths and then the prescribed paths. Like Final Fantasy was so interesting that way. Edge of Eternities is just not that. Edge of Eternities is not that at all. And so it's like a frustrating set to like have to sit through games when you're like, oh, this isn't like a fast format, nor is it a slow format exactly. There's like one aggro deck that'll kill me if I play it, and then I'm trying to be in the slow end game, but I'm not drawing my cards, and now I have to play these like 2 cards that kind of suck just to like make it a 40 card deck. Anyway, Edge of Eternities is an interesting set for Commander. At least I've enjoyed some cards in it for sure. Shout out Umbral Caller Zealot, but um I just I haven't been having fun with Edge of Eternities myself, and so I kind of am like, man, I understand people dropping from this. I would be hard pressed to see people dropping from Spider-Man though. When that comes around, I'm pretty excited to see what they do, because it's impossible that you get handed a project like Marvel Spider-Man or like Final Fantasy and not like fully knock it out of the park. This feels like it's been in development for a long time, and I have a lot of faith in game design right now, especially after Final Fantasy, that Spider-Man is going to be one of those that kind of I mean, I really hope you don't have to deal with that much more at, especially at this LGS. Worst case, let's go to the other one together and we'll play some.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
No, I'm really excited for Spider-Man. I know that like the Marvel stuff is a really kind of contentious topic with a lot of people,
Sure.
because I mean there's sort of kind of like a general exhaustion with kind of Universal's Beyond and stuff like that. And you know what? Like even as somebody that got into the game through a Universes Beyond set, I
Uh-huh.
kind of get it. I do.
Yeah,
I genuinely do. Like
the
because there are
identity of
some things
Magic is yeah,
exactly talking, going back to the idea that like I'd like to build my decks around a theme, right? Like it's
yeah,
like, okay, well, what theme does I'm Spider-Man fit, right? Like,
exactly.
like and there is sort of a general like Fortnite-ification of like everything,
In it,
right?
yeah.
Like because one of my favorite multiplayer games to play is Dead by Daylight, which is like a horror, like a survival horror multiplayer game.
Mhm.
And they've had licensed stuff in it since the very beginning. Michael
Right.
Myers and Ghostface and Texas
Totally.
Chainsaw and all these other things.
They
But it's
had
always been
Jigsaw,
kind of like,
baby.
and it's always been kind of chill because it's like, yeah, this is like about slashers and horror and all this
Hmm.
sort of stuff. So it all kind of
It
fits
fits.
the vibe, right? But then when they started adding characters like Lara Croft and stuff, I'm like, wait, what? What does she
Yeah.
have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Right? Only to come over to Magic and like they also added Lara Croft to Magic.
Right. They did
You know?
add the
And
it
so
makes
like
sense for something like Warhammer and like Lord of
Warhammer
the
fits,
Rings,
Final Fantasy fits,
Final
Lord of the
Fantasy.
Rings, obviously. Like
They all
there are
fit.
some, yeah, there are
Yeah.
some things that have very natural, like, oh, this is an extension of the fantasy realm, sort of
Right.
like we're dealing with magic and dragons
Hmm.
and spells and all this kind of stuff. But then you get to something like Spider-Man, you're like, well, this could just live on
Has
its own as like a
right.
subset, really, right?
Exactly. Like Avatar, The Last Airbender makes a lot more sense within Magic, even though it doesn't like I've never quite felt attached to it, and I don't really have any expectations for the set. It does feel more like in line with what like I don't know the show at all, but there's water bending, air bending, fire bending,
Yeah,
earth
it's
bending.
magic by
Like
another name, right? They're
exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's exactly like, oh, okay, so it's like there's mana involved in some way, I guess conceptually. Whereas Spider Man, I'm kind of like, how does Kingpin get a card? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm looking at some of the cards that have come out or been like teased and spoiled for Spider Man, and some of them I'm just like, I mean, I guess like I you know what I mean like I don't
right.
know. Like you're telling me that Aunt May can survive an attack from a goblin that has a knife? Like, sure, dude. Like, fine. Or like I just I don't know what it is about the set, but like this is the one where I have a little bit more of a block for, uh, but nothing more than Sonic. I think Sonic was like the most egregious to me in that it doesn't quite
Right.
fit Magic at all. But the cards are pretty cool, and it's hard to be upset at a thing that makes people this happy because there were a lot of people who were so stoked about Sonic and got into the game because of it, and it's like it's cool. Like it's still at the end of the day, Magic is the best game I play. Magic is the most fun I have when I am playing a game. I love to build the decks. I love to play the decks. I love talking about what you can do. I like the theory craft, all this stuff. Magic is so fucking fun. Sorry, Ken. And why wouldn't I want that to extend to someone else in a way that they can connect to it like differently? You know what I mean? Whereas I am a big fan of Innistrad and going back to the Gothic horror plane or seeing the Phyrexians come back. And even though they botched March of the Machine and it was really too quick considering all the buildup of that whole deal, I love Magic Story. I love Magic the Gathering as its own thing, its own flavor, and all that stuff. But I'm looking at Final Fantasy like this shit's so fucking cool. Sorry, Double Ken. Sorry. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it's just like these cards are sick. It makes sense. SpongeBob in the game's hilarious. Who cares? I
And
understand.
there's such a great gateway drug,
Right. Yeah.
right? Like the property gets you in. Oh, look, it's Cloud and a
Yeah.
Buster Sword. You can play that in your deck. You can
Uh-huh.
give Cloud the Buster Sword and big bonk your enemies,
Yeah.
right? But then the actual world of Magic is so sick.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
that has I haven't been in this super long, but like it already feels like Final Fantasy was like a blip on the radar in comparison to like my overall interest in the game.
Yeah.
Because then I was like, ooh, slivers, what's that about? Ooh, Eldrazi, they look f***ed up. Sorry, Ken. like, ooh, the Phyrexians, ooh, like there's all of this
Yeah.
really cool, unique to Magic stuff. It's
Yes.
not all just I shoot a fireball or I've got a staff, or like it's not this sort of general, in not in a diminutive way, but like general fantasy tropes that we see
Sure.
in other things, wizards and knights and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
There's
elves and
so much
stuff.
of its own texture and its own unique world building, planeswalkers and all this kind of
Oh
stuff
yeah.
that's so cool to dive into.
Oh yeah.
And like that's the stuff that I find myself being really drawn to now that I'm here. I'm like, ooh, like I'm building a slivers deck because I was like, oh, because Edge of Eternities was my first product launch that I was here for. It was my first
Uh-huh.
pre-release event and all that kind of stuff. And I got to trade for a Sliver Overlord, which I just thought was sick because I love that pulpy old school sci-fi art
Yeah, from the
style.
bonus sheet in Edge of Eternities. That thing looks sick.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, so now who are you? What do you do?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Because like that's how I've gotten into a lot of the cards that I've really liked. Like Captain Howler, I opened in an Ether Drift pack that I got as a bonus for buying the bundle of Final Fantasy Commanders. And I was like, excuse me,
Yeah.
chunky, like great white shark pirate?
Yeah.
Yes? Like this dude is sick as hell.
I
And so
know.
like that's like that's kind of like what I'm really enjoying now is like diving into all the unique elements of the Magic world. But I got here through Final Fantasy, right? Like,
Right.
and
And
so like
you still have so much you can dive into. You've highlighted the first of all, I thought you said you didn't have a villain story. You just brought up you're building a slivers deck. I digress. We'll talk about that another time. But like yeah, you picked like two of the most hated creature types, Eldrazi's and slivers. They're very magic, but they're very powerful, and people see them hit the table and go, okay, what do we got here? And that's exactly what you're gonna deal with a lot. But I think your approach to your sliver deck, which is like a modal, hey, I'm gonna shuffle some in, we'll see which ones make the cut every time you play the deck. That's a fun idea. I like that a lot more than just like the most streamlined sliver deck you've ever seen. That said, you haven't even scratched the surface of Magic. You don't know
no.
about the Brothers War. You don't know about Urza's saga. You don't know about Nicol Bolas and the God Eternals. You don't know about what happened on Amon Ket. You don't you like you haven't been you haven't been shown Lorwyn yet. You haven't seen Theros and like what the underworld means in Theros and why some planeswalkers have an affinity for certain planes and what makes a planeswalker, and you're still so new to that. And I think that that's also going to add so much appreciation to what you love about Magic because it is its own thing. It's got such a strong identity, and it's hard to argue with the numbers of Universes Beyond because they sell like crazy. These products cannot be kept around. It was impossible for me to get my hands on any of the Final Fantasy decks that I wanted even like a week after. Like I decided not to get any, and then I played the Tarot one, and I was like, maybe I can get this, and I was like, no, I can't. It's so much more expensive and also not available. Like it's just I think that they are so popular, but they also will lead you into this world. And I think once you get involved with Magic in the sense that like, oh, what's Duskmourn? And then you find out, oh, they had stories that came out every other day for like a couple weeks before. Tarkir had another story. What's Tarkir? You know what I mean? And then you find out about all the clans there. You find out why we've been back to Ravnica several times. What's up on Innistrad? You've got a bunch of heavy hitters that you haven't even touched yet. And I'm so excited for you because this is the effect of Universes Beyond. Universes Beyond gets you in, it's the gateway drug. And then now you're thinking about slivers and Eldrazi. And at some point when you're like, oh man, I can't be this evil, you'll be like, I wonder what's up with this. Who's Shilgengar and why is this demon so interested in making blood from angels? And you're like, well, this is the Innistrad elder demon who slayed a bunch of the angels on the plane or something. I don't quite know Shield Gengar's lore. I just picked him because I see him behind me on my playmats on the wall. But that said, like, Magic's got such a strong identity, and it's a bummer to see so much less dedicated to the core Magic stuff
Yeah.
because those resources do have to go into Universes Beyond, and there's such like high risk failure. Like, if you fail at making a Universes Beyond set good, well then you're likely not going to see much more from that place, or you might not be able to get more projects for Universes Beyond. And I get that another property, like, you've already spent the money on the IP and you've worked out this deal, and there's already so much risk involved that you don't want the set to flop. So you have some of the best stuff. Final Fantasy was such a hit and makes so much sense. I can't imagine that Marvel, any of the Marvel sets are going to be are going to be flops. Like, it's hard to even think that. So
Yeah.
it's just like, obviously it feels like with Edge of Eternity being the other Magic set that's come out recently, that is a Magic set, and to see it kind of be like, eh, while giving us some cool stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I love the new lands in the Commander decks. I
Warp.
love Warp is
Warp.
cool. Void is sick.
Warp. Yeah.
Umbral Collar Zealot. I'll
Some
speak
of
about
the
you
new
forever.
mechanics in Edge of Eternities are really cool.
Oh yeah, totally. There's a lot of really cool stuff, but it is not as strong or
Sure.
as exciting as some of the Universe Beyond set, and I think that's to be expected. So that said,
It also a little bit becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
totally,
Because
yeah.
you're saying like, oh, these things are going to be huge. They're going to be huge sellers because they have these recognizable characters and stuff, but they can't afford to have them not succeed. So they put strong and interesting cards in them, which then means that the sets sell more. So then you end up with things like Final Fantasy making $200 million in a single day.
Right.
Coming off of the back of Ether Drift not being particularly popular. And if you're just a bean counter, and let's face it, like a lot of people in charge are, if you're just a bean counter, there's going to be a point where like, is 50-50 Universes Beyond enough? Does that still make sense for us? Right? And
that's the scary part, I think.
That's the scary part is,
right.
Yeah.
I think that is the slippery slope that Magic lovers and who don't like Universes Beyond are kind of afraid of. I
get it.
I understand too. What I really loved is that for a while they would do mechanically unique secret layers for Universes Beyond, like the Stranger Things kids and the Walking Dead things. They had them as part of the list, which was underseeded in packs 100%. I think that they should have done a better job at making these available, but they did in-universe reskins for those cards. So like, while I have a Mike and Will from Stranger Things deck, I don't care about Stranger Things, and I don't like that one of my commanders is played by a Zionist on TV. Let's just like, no thanks. You know what I mean? So I've got Wernog and Othelm in the command zone from Innistrad, who are the Universes Within version of Mike and Will. So like, no offense to Finn Wolfhard, who is not the Zionist, the other guy is. I like Finn Wolfhard, not that other guy. And so Mike the Dungeon Master, you're cool. But Will the Wise, get out of here. Either way, I've got those two guys, and they had in-universe printings. I wish that they would do that more. The thing is, with full sets,
it's can't so really, hard.
Yeah. So
look, how many legendary creatures were in Final Fantasy? You're gonna reprint all of those with alternate names and alternate art, and like.
So that's the thing. Like, luckily, there's a lot of stuff in Universe Beyond that fits Magic well enough in the fantasy world, and that makes a lot of sense. Like, I can get behind just being like fine with these, although it is kind of frustrating to be like, I really like this card, but man, that silly anime haircut in this art is just not it for me and takes me a little bit out. Like, that's fair. I hope you have a reskin, or you could always have an artist alter it. But what I find interesting is that on Arena for Marvel Spider-Man, they won't have the same set on Arena versus in paper because they don't have digital printed
this is a whole other.
It's a whole mess. So that's going to be a tough one to navigate and figure out. But it's also like, hey, I would love that set to be in paper if it's available. Like, I would love the
It
universes
should
union.
be.
Yeah.
It 100% should be.
Yeah.
Like
You
do
commissioned
it
the art
6 months,
already.
do it 6 months later or something, so
Totally.
that it's like not stealing the thunder from the core set. But like
Yeah.
people who don't want to have Gwen Stacy in the
Uh-huh.
command zone should be able to have some cool spider mutant character or whatever
Yeah.
the universes within would be, you know? So like so
Yeah.
that you can have the mechanics but not the branding. I think there's nothing wrong with that at all.
That's what I would hope for. But again, it's like a lot of resources, a lot of stuff. The thing is, it's just unlikely to happen. What I'm expecting is
Yeah.
down the line, Wizards will find some cards that they've made in Universes Beyond and go, this is perfect for this Masters set, or this is perfect for this precon. Maybe it's time we dip into reprinting this card in this as a Universes Within thing. And it's going to be a lot easier with the ones that already have it, like the Walking Dead guys, the Street Fighter guys, the Stranger Things guys. Like all those cards have Universes Within stuff, and that's going to be a lot easier to integrate. But like, I can't imagine Wizards is going to be able to reprint the One Ring from Lord of the Rings as the One
Right.
Ring. So like, to me, it's kind of like, when's that shoe going to drop? Because that card terrorized Modern, and it was a real pain in the ass. And then on top of it, it's just like one of the most powerful cards you can have in Magic. I like it's just a bananas card altogether. Orcish Bowmasters, I guess you could like reskin with different art, but the One Ring, you can't really get away with that. So I'm interested to see what they do when it comes time to be like, let's get more copies of this card in the hands of players, because
Yeah.
there's a high demand, and now the secondary market's looking at pushing $400 for a single card. Or is this now the new reserve list, which I'm
That's literally what I was
realizing,
about to say. Like, are they unintentionally creating a new reserved list with cards that
or intentionally?
ooh.
Yeah. Anyway, I do think we've hit about an hour here, and I don't want to keep you too long, but I do want to say I love that you play Magic now. I am so thrilled that we get to hang, like we've been hanging out pretty steady since you got to town. I've missed you so much. I'm so glad we just like hang out all the time. But now that you play Magic, I'm like, buddy, when you come over, before we do a stupid little horror movie night with me and my girlfriend and like get a little fun watching friggin' Smile 2 or something. Do you want to look at some Magic stuff? Like, I got a new deck. Do you want to play a little bit of something? You know what I mean? It's just, it's a lot of fun to be able to be like, oh, Ashley's coming. Okay, well, I pulled a couple cards aside so I could show her so she could be excited about it in this new deck of hers or something. And it's really
I
nice.
gotta say before we sign off here, I
Uh,
have listened to every single episode of this podcast.
which is wild.
47 episodes
Mm,
as of today.
as of today.
This became one of my favorite ways to learn about the game
Oh, no way.
because there are a million opportunities to learn about the mechanics of the game,
Mhm.
but there are way fewer opportunities to learn about the interpersonal dynamics of the game. And
Right.
so this became the podcast that I would listen to while I walk my dog in the morning and on my lunch break and in the evenings and stuff. And I would just power through in chronological order, listening to these episodes and listening to people reference these cards that were problems. And while I was walking, I'd be like, oh, what's a cyclonic rift? Boop, boop, boop. Up on my phone on Scryfall. Look it
Uh-huh.
up. Oh, okay. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and just listen to all these stories and be like, oh, okay. So this is a problem because of this thing. This is preferred because of that. Like,
Mhm.
and just kind of learning not the mechanics of how to play the game, but how to play the game.
Right.
Right?
The social aspect of it is underrepresented in the podcast. I think like Heroes Blade Vibe Check is a podcast I'd like to shout out. Those guys go for hours and they really talk about the social stuff. I'll also say that Howling Salt Mine is an excellent podcast that you should be listening to as well. I'll say that like this podcast, we do get into like the reason that we go with the pet peeve and the story where you might be the villain is to kind of come at it from like a how do we make this better, or like what have we done to make this more enjoyable, or to kind of take a moment to identify what it is about the thing that we're discussing that you don't like, to kind of check in with yourself and take it with you the next time you approach a table. You know what I mean? Like Davey did a whole episode about why she doesn't like playing against white, and we got to the point where it's like, you know, we don't really know exactly what Davey hates about white, but we know that Davey doesn't like white, and maybe next time she plays against white, she'll be able to be like, well, I think it's because they've got so many board wipes, or like it's all a token swarm, and I don't like messing with that or something. The point is like I appreciate what you're saying, because that is an intentional thing with this. Is like the whole column is, am I the asshole? Sorry, Ken. I don't think we need to bleep that one. Never mind. It's, am I the asshole but for magic? Little known fact about the column, am I the bolus, which is very cleverly taken the name of the subreddit that's super popular. It's just that people write in, they ask if that's the thing, and then I get into it with them and say like, this is what people come to expect with playing the game. At least this is where I'm coming from, and my experience playing with so many other players and stuff. And Commander comes with a bunch of unspoken rules. Commander comes with the expectation of, we're all here to have a good time, but we don't want to explicitly just say what our good time is. We kind of just like want to figure it out as we go. But I think what we need to get better at is discussing what those good times are and what that would mean to us, or letting go by being okay with whatever the outcome is, and, acting accordingly, So like, I think that with the cyclonic rift thing, like you brought up, that lesson was like, what's the lesson here? Be mindful of other people's time, you know? Be mindful of, like, sure, you could take the win, or like you can like delay your your loss by playing a cyclonic rift and hoping you draw into a win later on and something. But if this is like a 3-hour game and you're doing this and we're gonna stall for another couple turns, just sandbag the rift, maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe that's just not the call right now. What's the lesson with Davey picking white as her pet peeve? Sometimes you know what you like and what you don't like, and that's okay. That's it. So I appreciate you listening to all the episodes, especially so in quick succession. Again, you've only been playing for so long, and now you're like, I listen to every podcast, and that's like a solid, 50 hours of stuff. And so that's really nice. I appreciate that you said that. That's really nice. Thanks, buddy. I really, really can't thank you enough for saying that. Oh no, were you frozen for that whole thing? Oh, Ashley, no. Oh, Ashley just texted me that her power went out. Oh my god. Oh, well, okay. Okay, so Ashley says she just wants to plug her Blue Sky, and that of course is going to be at Ashley Cooper dot bsky dot social, and that's all you got to do. Follow Ashley at Ashley Cooper on Blue Sky. I already did my plugs up top. Thank you so much. First of all, thanks Ashley for joining me. I really like, this is one of my best friends. I really love her. I think she's so great, and it means a lot that we now get to share this thing that I really, 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 really love. And the fact that she's taken it upon herself to listen to all the episodes and kind of take lessons from here and there, it really rules, and it makes me very, very happy. And this just goes to show, like, I thank you to my listeners. If you stuck with me this whole time, man, like, thank you so much. If you're just joining, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So that'll do it for the episode. Email us at amithebolas@gmail.com. Hit us up on Blue Sky at amitheboldcast. Hit me up at Mike Carrozza, MikeCarrozza. All right, yeah, that'll do it, I guess. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Scoot the day, baby.